Let us now discuss is Sufism responsible for downfall of Islam? Okay. See, the idea Sufism is responsible for Islam's downfall, I find it so primitive, vulgar. Okay. Why so? Sufism is, I would say, flowering of Islam. Islam started some simple moral code of do's and don'ts in a desert region. And I really don't think there is much depth in it. It was legalistic, God-fearing. And then a group of people, dedicated people, went on and setting up empires. So basically, they conquered through their own motivation, commitment. Okay, and they started with a very primitive political and economic system. But then, when they occupied empires, they picked up the best of those existing civilizations, picked up science, picked up culture, picked up architecture, picked up philosophy, picked up religion, in the sense that they added to Islam many religious concepts. So what started in a primitive society became a worldwide religion through accommodation, through absorption and adding depth to it. If they simply wanted to establish Quranic code on everybody, there would have been a lot of violence. And Iqbal himself belonged to Kashmir. His grandfather was a Kashmiri Pandit. And why people in Kashmir got converted to Islam? Because of Sufism. Many in India got converted to Sufism. So Sufism provided depth, accommodation, diversity. Okay, people of great religions felt connected, and this is peace-loving, not aggression-glorifying. And searching for inner peace. So why is Sufism the worldwide popular? Why does the West read Sufism and not Quran? Because Sufism has that great depth, providing inner meaning to life. Okay. And what does Iqbal want? Iqbal wants to go back to those primitive desert. Okay, what does that know? What does it mean? It is simply aggression. Aggression, motivation, simple moral code. Okay. In fact, whether there is God is one or not is such a simple, such a low order debate in religion. But that was made such a big issue in Islam. In its primitive phase. So, what Iqbal is proposing is going back, which means not knowing what contributed to greatness of Islam, not knowing what is great about Islam. He is thinking in terms of military conquest. He is not thinking in terms of what is the purpose of religion. The purpose of religion being inner peace, calmness, accommodation, harmony, happiness. Okay. He is taking away, he wants to remove the highest and wants to go back to the primitive, which is so completely wrong. Okay, and people should question what he wrote on Hafiz and why he had such a view. Okay, now independent of what Iqbal thought, let us see what caused Islam's downfall. One very serious problem with a question like this is that Muslims ask what caused Islam downfall and Hindus ask what caused Hindu downfall. Without seeing, it is not that Hindu downfall and Islam downfall, but it is just that at some place new things happened. English Revolution, Industrial Revolution, discoveries, Scientific Revolution, Enlightenment. So modernization is a very powerful thing, and it happened in a particular locality, in a particular place on the earth. Why did it happen like that? It's just how for some reason some new areas are coming up with certain new ideas, and if they are powerful enough, they are spreading just the way Islam spread. So this is a kind of a new ideology, so powerful, empowering man, and through the power of technology and reason, they conquered the whole world. Western civilization conquered the world in a way that no civilization earlier conquered, be it Islamic or Hindu or Chinese or whatever. So, before asking what caused the downfall of Islam, it somehow thinks that if Muslims themselves should have thought of these things. It can't be like that. It's just that new ideas come at different places and they spread all over the world, and that is the logic of things. And so Western civilization will have some end, and just like Islam had its days of glory and Hinduism had its days of glory, and that is the way nature works. But we have to understand, okay, that's how they develop. If we have to understand what within Islam that contributed to the decline, but compared to the West. Okay. In this aspect also, Iqbal misses the point. What is West? Number one, West is not Christianity. Iqbal knows that it is not Christianity. So he doesn't say how Christians succeeded. Okay. Nietzsche, Iqbal's inspiration was anti-Christian. So he was not saying West is Christianity. But West and Christianity are related. Related in what way? Christians became Western and modern by undermining Christianity, by undermining Bible, by undermining Jesus. Through undermining Bible, through undermining Jesus, they glorified reason. But where is Iqbal? Iqbal thinks Quran is great, Prophet Muhammad is great, he is great reason, everything. Iqbal criticizes everybody, be it Nietzsche or Western poets or Lenin. Everybody criticized on the truth that is Quran. Nietzsche's problem is that he didn't believe in God. Lenin's problem is that he didn't believe in God. Iqbal represents the essence of primitive mindset. What is the use of reading so much of philosophy finally to identify how glorious that Quran is? He is no different from that student in madrasa school who is always memorizing Quran and understanding nothing of it. It is just that Iqbal, as Allama Iqbal, is a scholar. So all the analysis is finally in the end it is useless, it is dogmatic. So if he really wishes the welfare of Muslims, he should develop reason. And reason has no limits. It is not the purpose of reason to find out how Quran is great. One should be critical of Quran, of Prophet. Like Bertrand Russell wrote, "Why I am not a Christian?" Nietzsche wrote, "Antichrist." Galileo, Copernicus, what are those people doing? It is a rebellion against Christianity. So out of rebellion against religion, they were freed. And Iqbal doesn't learn that. Iqbal wants Muslims to retain their belief in a Quran and Allah and then pick up what? And also lose the best philosophy of Islam, Sufism. So such a man as a spiritual founder of Pakistan, what kind of spirituality he is giving to Pakistan? And I would say in 20th century, for a Muslim to be considered a philosopher, the minimum thing he should say is that I don't believe in a God, and so there cannot be a prophet, and so there cannot be his word, which means a kafir. I would say minimum qualification for a 20th century philosopher is a self-certification of kafir. Allama Iqbal is a pious Muslim. So he cannot be called a philosopher if you ask me. But unfortunately, even now, Muslim philosophers are like this only, like Iqbal. Never questioning the basics. But let me tell you, I don't mean that if you question Allah and the Prophet and the Quran, though you become a kafir because of such a extremely limited and wrong definition, I don't mean if you question this, then you become a materialist. You can have respect for, you can have a belief in certain forces, divine elements. You can respect for Prophet. You can read Quran with admiration, okay, and you can be spiritual. You can respect Islamic culture, philosophy, theology. So self-certified kafir doesn't mean he's a materialist. No, he is still spiritual, but he applies reason to the entire domain of philosophy and to the entire domain of religion. That includes Quran. Okay. So what are the present day philosophers are trying to do? They are trying to give more and more meaning to Quran and then glorify. That's what is going on. Okay. And more importantly, Iqbal hasn't understood what are the future problems of dogmatism. This is what is problem with Islam. Sectarianism, fundamentalism, because his philosophy makes people move towards the lower end of the religion. It is the lower end of the religion that gave problems to Islam. Okay, most people believe Sufism is the solution to problems of Islam, but Iqbal wants people to move to backwards. And also Iqbal thinks, for example, he says that, see, I predicted there would be a great world clash, and so he said that World War I happened as he predicted, and it happened because of materialism. Okay, it is because of atheism. Again, this is meaningless argument. Weren't there wars when there was no materialism and when there was no atheism? He wants man to be God's agent. God agent 1 will not quarrel with God agent 2, and together next with God agent 3. So Muslim armies fought, and each fighting they called it jihad. So each one was thinking he was God agent only. So how would something like World War I will not happen if people become Muslims and if they become theistic? Okay, so how was Islam a solution? If Islam was a solution, definitely its highest philosophy and Sufism is the solution, not the early philosophy. So Iqbal is taking Islam backward, and it is a tragedy that he is an inspiration to Muslims now. Thank you.